Uh, Badiou's Ontology. You are going to read some chapters of Being and Event. If you want to read the whole book, of course, it would be easier because you have a whole picture of his thought. In general, as I told you before and on the syllabus, I strongly advise you for reading this book, these chapters, along with the companion, because it will help you to have a clearer grasp of keywords that he uses. In the previous video, we left with a question: what's this being to which the subject is exposed and is part is interwoven with? The science that can give us an answer is mathematics. As I was telling you before, while I was talking about Badiou's influence from Lacan, mathematics and logics are absolutely necessary to philosophy. Philosophy can only be a meta-ontology, in the sense that philosophy can only reflect on the epistemological units, as we were saying without Husserl, can only trace back and knit together these epistemological truths. But the being in itself can be announced through mathematics. Mathematics is ontology, is the science of the real, because it figures out a way to announce the being, because it counts, because it brings to a form through axioms, letters, formulas, axioms, the multiplicity of being. So mathematics is ontology because it pronounces what is expressible of the being qua being, as a being. Logic, on the other hand, is the discipline that describes the rules through which this compossibility of multiplicity is. So logic is a normative discipline, we might say, through which the formalization of the multiplicity is possible. So then, what is this being? Badiou described the being starting from Plato's description of being. And Plato's restatement of being comes from his discussion with Parmenides. So the statement is the following: if one is not, then nothing is. And you will find this statement quoted certainly more than once in Being and Event. What does that mean? If one is not means if there's no ultimate consistency or unity to being, if the being is this whole of inconsistent multiplicity, of heterogeneity, then the one is not. Then the being must be that which inconsists. So if there is no ultimate consistency, then the being is this inconsistency. The being is that which inconsists. Clear, simple. So the being, in its highest and most primitive formulation, is the nothing, meaning is this inconsistent multiplicity. The being is the void, meaning is this precise point at which the situation, that is all that is beyond the coming into being, is suited to its being. So, void, the void is a very specific word that doesn't mean nothingness, but it means the point at which the situation is sutured, is connected, is woven to the underlying being. So void designs this gap between the situation, again, all that is beyond the count, and the underlying being. So the nothing is, the being, means that this oneification, this becoming one, this becoming event, this becoming a truth that is consigned to us through the operation of the subject, or just the subject, is a presentation of multiplicity as such. That's why mathematics is the science of real, because the beings come to be through the one, through the number, through a consistent multiplicity that nevertheless is suited to an inconsistent multiplicity. So this nothing is a presentation of multiplicity as such, is the pure being of the situation, is the operation, is the subject, is the event, is what is beyond the count, or better, is the one that is immediately after the count. And the situation is in itself this consistency, or this pure decision in which the multiplicity is suited to its being. So it's the void. In that sense, we understand how the truth is conditioned, is an operation that comes to being in a heterogeneous way through the operation of the subject that is faithful to the event, that becomes the truth for this dialectic inconsistency of multiplicity. Mathematics is what brings the count to existence, the number to be, but there's a pre-existent multiplicity that we need to express in praxis. Otherwise, we would create a theory of the truth that is independent from what is real, from the praxis, from the reality, while philosophy, the science of knowledge, psychoanalysis should be conditioned, should be dependent, should answer this demand that comes from materiality. So, in its ontology, he basically gives another answer, a more articulated answer to this relationship between subjectivity and truth. Nothingness, meaning this oneification that presents the multiplicity as such in the event of the situation, is suited to a multiplicity of being. And the underlying being keeps being this inconsistent multiplicity. And we need to be loyal to this inconsistent multiplicity and trying to give voice through this gathering together the pieces, to this reorganization of the event, to this loyalty, faithfulness to the event. We need to keep being loyal to the heterogeneity in order to answer to the demand of what is material. So these are the main terms of Badiou that I'd like you to keep in mind in this semester, because I think they are helpful for psychological praxis. I think that what he brought to light from Lacan and connected to ontology and logic is particularly helpful in not only theory but in praxis too, especially when we are going to deal with patients that seem to be unable to express in words, in illogical structure, what the demand that they are really feeling or suffering from is another way to, another very interesting and rich angle to consider the psychological demand as truth. Okay, so if you have questions, you have my email, and we'll see together for the next video on phenomenology. Thank you.